fact is, one of our wonderful, charming, indigenous qualities as human beings are the great stories we tell. And the great stories we use for creating bonding and a collective image of who we are. And so I, in no way, intended this presentation this morning to derogate against the creative side of stories. The fact is, we are all creators of stories. But that's the point, is to create our stories and not be created by them. Sometimes a story can be an element of, shall we say, social grace. In that we just meet someone, we don't want to just go straight up to the person and say, "Who are you?" Instead we say, "Hi, what do you do? Where are you from?" We don't really want to hear the whole story of their life, but we're using at least a small element of story to create the basis of a relationship. See? The same thing can occur in counseling. The invitation of someone to tell you how they got in the condition they're in, why they feel the way they feel about something, often involves elements of story. And if we allow them to express this, it creates a context that envelops their life and allows them to be there comfortably with it. Just like we were talking about earlier, the zone of safety. Stories make us feel a little safer. And so it allows people to feel a little safer with their issues and with the things that ultimately they need to deal with. The point of this morning is not to tell you never to use stories. My goodness, Yeshua used stories beautifully. He was the teller of stories, the teller of parables. And so many times, stories can be a way of conveying subtle, pictorial elements of truth that otherwise would be so abstract, even the mind couldn't grasp it. So there is a time and place for stories. But the point of this morning was to allow you to see that you can exist without your story. And the more you learn to recognize your essential self, the enduring, authentic self that you are, the less it needs a story. I'm sure those of you in counseling have learned to detect when a person is using a story as a way of introducing themselves to you and an issue that they have versus using a story as a substitute for dealing with it. You know the difference. We all know the difference. We know when we're living our story as a substitute for living versus creating the moment, which may be tomorrow's story. But at least at that moment, we're creating the moment.